and we are making it back over on Orangel.
We saw a very, very favorable circle, very kind circle the first game on Orangel. Hopefully they see something the same this time.
So, Rip, it's all on you. Now you have to talk until the circle appears. Congratulations for the next
Without a doubt. Look, this is what's going to happen. The circle is going to pop in the northeast.
See? Very good job.
Thank you.
We'll make it not quite so bad as circles.
I was totally going to call it military base, too. Man, I was way off.
See, you just have to talk when the circles pop, and then the players will like it better.
Gotcha. All right.
That's your job from this point forward. Right? And then whenever we want to kind of spice stuff up, Poro, you can talk, and then we'll just bring in the worst circles on the face of the earth. All right.
Apparently, I'm only allowed to speak on Miramar.
That's apparently. I mean, let's be honest. Those have been some crazy Miramar games. I may have bantered about not liking Miramar a lot, but I'm
been having a lot of fun with Miramar.
I'm no longer allowed to say that because, by God, those games have been amazing so far between these last 2 days. So you can see we do have Check 6 over here with Halo Clan Gaming posted up over here in Yasnaya. Yasnaya tends to split where you have the north and the south, and everybody just kind of minds their own business. But with the circle popping on Yasnaya, might make it a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, with the last couple of rounds, we've seen a lot of these teams jumping into the circle very early. This might be the same sort of situation happening out here, but probably unlikely.
They do have not a developer on this southern side. Actually crossing over the street, getting a little aggressive here in Yasnaya. Usually the teams that hang out on the south side tend to stay on the south side, but not a developer creeping his way over. You can see Vac on the north side watching the street level for Halo Clan. I'm not sure he saw not a developer run across.
That's kind of the unspoken rule that happens at Yasnaya. You just don't go over to the other side of the territory. So with not a developer actually going over there, makes me curious on how Check 6 is wanting to play this. But as you can see on the map, they actually have one of their members packs that's way down, not inside of Yasnaya, that's doing a little bit of looting and claiming out some locations. Kind of see where everybody's playing at right now. No real big surprises inside of this. We do have Simplicity. It looks like they're going to be the last team slowly making their way down there. They've got themselves some cars. Maybe go down to military base, maybe Novo, depending on how they want to time this out. We still actually do have Ghost long dropping at this point. They do have themselves a boat, but they're still having to make their way over towards Milta at the time.
They should still have plenty of time to loot up and make their way in the circle. They don't mind coming in from the southern side as they're kind of used to it, having to loot up in Milta. They were fortunate, though, to get those boats and get into their normal loot location. As we see, not a developer still creeping a little bit into Halo Clan territory.
Look at that. Vac is starting to loot towards that general vicinity. Sooner or later, they're going to start getting close enough to start hearing footsteps back and forth. And naturally, the Halo Clan Gaming guys can reinforce much faster. As you can see, that split we talked about, Pack's not even in Yasnaya at the time. Godku and Lobes are going to have to run across that street. And we haven't really talked about it too much. Streets can be bloodbath. There are no cover on those roads.
I mean, you want to talk about streets? It looks like one of the members of reInvent actually just wandered on right in there, right beside Check 6 and Halo Clan Gaming. Although he's thinking about maybe backing on out of there.
It was driving in that general vicinity and was like,
it looks busy.
Somebody might be here. You can see it's going to be Grizzly. Was driving right up next to Yasnaya and was like, you know, somebody's dropped here.
Maybe he's thinking about going back. He's like, no, just the road.
I'm just going to go ahead and get the gas station. They're going to go ahead and try to get a foothold. With a circle like this, a lot of times you'll see a team rotate very, very early to try to get strong points that they really feel that they need to contest around. And naturally, you can also potentially catch some people rotate out. Because one of the interesting things about how we see pro play develop is if you drop in, like, let's say, Pachinki or Georgia Pool or Yasnaya, any of these big locations, they don't stay there because it's too hard to defend that many houses. There's too many bad sight lanes. So before you know it, you have just people all up underneath of you, so they'll go to different fortified spots. So Grizzly looks like he's trying to maybe get into a spot to catch somebody rotating out of Yasnaya.
I am going to go ahead and disagree.
You're going to disagree?
I'm going to disagree. I think Grizzly has made his way out here from Razak for reInvent. You saw him scouting out the cliff sides by the lake. You saw him scouting out the yellows by the lake. I think he's just trying to find a spot for his team to rotate to once they get finished up in looting. It looks like they're going to be hopping into their vehicles and making their way down here. But yeah, those cliff sides and those yellows right in the dead center of this first circle.
And something interesting I noticed on the minimap, there was a crate that dropped which was near PAX, but because of that, Team Gates, Denial, and Lazarus all seem to be heading in that direction as well.
Might be getting a little bit of attention going that direction. There you go. You can see the Denial player, Cloudtail, running through there. Lazarus not taking a lot of shots until after he passes on that. So we're going to have to see how that starts to play out. As on the map, there are a ton of people already actually starting to go around there. Everybody's wanting to vie for that level 3 gear.
I think Sub-Zero might have pulled a little K-mine there, might have switched seats and taken some shots as he was driving by. Landed a couple, but nothing going to be enough to finish off that kill as Lazarus going to go ahead and get back to their rotation.
All right, so you can see we do have Denial, Team Gates, Check 6. It's going to be Halo Clan Gaming, Shoot to Kill, Reinvent, and Yellow Pipe Gaming already inside the circle. I do like this from Yellow Pipe Gaming. They tend to move a little bit later than some of the other teams. Now they're starting to get a little bit more active, move and try to vie for positions that they think are strong earlier instead of always playing across that edge. Going to be interesting to see how this develops because I really would like to start seeing them play a little bit more aggressive or a little bit more active at least.
Well, this is kind of a byproduct of them having their loot spot fall in the circle this time, right? So they didn't have the ability to kind of push in late. They had to get somewhere early because they happened to be there.
All right, so you can see the guys from Lazarus slowly regrouping. They do have Denial around them. These guys have been kind of back and forth with each other in a lot of their rotations so far today, regardless of the map that they move to. Woe's still kind of posted up over there, just going to take some shots over at Fenna. Why not? You never know. You might hit that lucky headshot or two and get the down off of it. At this point, everybody's actually rotated through. This has been a very quiet early game. No deaths as of this stage. I don't even think we've even seen a knock come into play yet.
No, not yet. And, it's still very early into this game, as you mentioned. But a lot of teams are, kind of crowding in on here in Yasnaya Polyana. And, I wanted to ask you guys, how often does the circle end in Yasnaya? I feel like it's pretty rare.
Urban endings in competitive are very rare indeed. They do happen, but whenever they do, it's a huge peak fest as people going back and forth towards each other. Looks like the Gates guys are going to go ahead and try to claim over there and get those yellows that do have some decent sight lines and are fairly strong just given the visibility that's around them. One of the big factors in this, though, we should point out is we do have Stolber that's inside the circle, eats up a lot of space, really hard to move around, and we have all of those fields around Yasnaya that we're looking at the direct time. That eats up a lot of space that teams could potentially hide.
Well, where it started to start getting real spicy is if that circle decides to go up to the northeast and find itself centering on Stolber, then we're going to see all these teams having to move into that area. But for right now, I mean, you say the Yasnaya circle on the city itself, pretty rare, but the Yasnaya fields, pretty popular.
Exactly.
Hey, can we get the map real quick? Because I just want to point out
there's
something.
a lot of stuff
look
here.
at this. What do we have? We have Reinvent holding down the gas station and the other side of the road. Almost looks like they might be biding their time trying to catch somebody in rotation there, Poro.
All right.
Gonna try to call me out again, buddy?
Well, look, he was scouting to see if there was anybody in this
It was,
place that
to be
yells.
honest, whenever we're doing that at that stage, we're just bantering with each other. We don't know the directed mindset, so it's a 50-50 gamble. He could have been just as right as I was.
But look, I do like this positioning by Reinvent. Having control over that bridge on both the east and west side is a smart play. Now, you're not going to probably see too many teams trying to make their way over there from the south, but if this second circle decides to go north in any way, you could see that be a really, really strong position for Reinvent.
Well, we actually do have everybody starting to make their way inside the safe zone now. So with this, again, I do like this from Yellow Pipe Gaming. Instead of playing that passive edge strategy, get some of these strong complexes. Go ahead and try to fight your way through it at this point. Start relying on your aim a little bit more. You guys did make it to this stage. Don't just always just play everybody else's game. At some point, start making people react to your decisions.
Exactly. And, as I mentioned in the quals, they have had first place finishes in the past. They're trying to do the strategy that works best for them so far. They've had some consistent finishes, I think, so far today. So it's just a matter of whether, their strategy is working out. Right now, I think they're just kind of throwing caution to win. It's round 4 of the day. It's the last round of the day. Take some chances in here. Close out the day with a different strategy, perhaps, and then maybe come back and regroup the next 2 days.
I mean, everybody here, catching a little bit of error there, but going to go ahead and reload. Look back over. Can he connect onto the tire or maybe Mardona's? But nope, going to cross over the side of the hill. Going to get excited for nothing there.
You see a motorcycle flying, it's exciting.
I know. Anytime I see motorcycles in the air, it always gets me up. I'm like, is anybody going to hit the shot? But speaking of that, we do have a motorcycle making the pass over there. Already down to about half life. That's going to be the Lego Your Ego guys. Still caught in a little bit of a rotation, trying to find out where they want to go. And it is just bouncing into person after
so
person.
low.
He is so low right now. And one more bullet's going to take him down. And it's going to be the other side of the trap that just comes into effect and gets them a kill.
There you go. The trap pays off. That's going to be 1 kill over to Reinvent already. As Lego Your Ego trying to make that long northern rotation. You see they're going to have to turn back around and have to deal with shoot to kill now on the north side.
What's interesting about that, though, while they were getting caught up in that fight and they were looking over to finish out the motorcycle, Tempo Storm managed to move in and claim those buildings just to the south of them. They do have that wall that kind of protects them to a certain degree, but I'm willing to bet that they weren't too happy about the fact that now they have Sharky that's taking a couple of pot shots at them.
Yeah, Tempo liking this position, this hillside where they can have a lot of freedom to kind of move around, peek some different angles, not have to necessarily be confined to a compound. See them trying to shoot at those little feetsies underneath. I think Grizzly actually might have taken a at least got to live about half life. And actually,
Exactly.
Tempo might want this.
Yeah, and they've got to be playing with more confidence, especially now coming off that fantastic round they just closed out with. And you see the shots coming out from Sharky there, and you can see Greg Shot, he's bouncing, he's getting the hell out of there.
Yep, Grizzlies slowly starting to retreat out, and now they're going to move over to those yellows that were scouted out beforehand. Look, Poro, now we're both right.
It
It
all
doesn't
makes
feel
sense.
good. We're friends now again. All right, so new circle does pop up, and that's going to be focusing more towards Yasnaya. Are you making this a Yasnaya?
I don't know, man.
You hinted about it
I don't
earlier. Is
know.
it like, do we
It
ever
could
see
be.
games in
Do we
Yasnaya?
ever?
Well, I don't
Maybe.
know. Like
Possible?
between him and saying that Yasnaya proper, and then me kind of throwing out Stallber, I think we both kind of combined
We're
our
forcing it.
powers combined. We've ruined everything.
Either way, I am happy because they're two of my favorite places to fight around. Valtail manages to stick that landing. As you can see, his motorcycle taking a little bit of damage there. Down to a little bit below half life. Got to be careful off that. Naturally, Team Gates guys are also in rotation.
Oh my God, there's a lot of people in rotation, man, right now. Just take a look at the minimap.
Oh, well, look at what's
It's
happening at
flooded.
Yasnaya. Everybody is starting to crash over towards it. We've got Denial that's moving in, trying to claim that location. We talk about how teams like to move out of Yasnaya because they don't feel it's safe. Reinvent already went up there, so now we have 3 teams that are posted up around Yasnaya. Meanwhile, Yellow Pipe Gaming taking a couple of shots, trying to control the territory around them.
Yeah, Shrimzy definitely not afraid to take these shots. You can see One Hog actually taking a little bit low there. He's going to have to go back and get the heel off, but Shrimzy going to be taking the long-range shots and making sure that Halacline stays, keeps him honest, essentially.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. A lot of these teams moving along the southeastern portion of the circle here. You see Ghost taking some shots, DLG putting down at fire. And Simplicity, they had a long path. They were down a military base for a long time, now finally moving their way up north here. But you can see they're still pretty far apart.
The problem with this is DLG has kind of committed to gatekeeping at this stage, but they're not inside the safe zone yet. So now they're having to mobilize, get inside their vehicles. Lazarus has actually got it down now, back hitting those shots. This is kind of what we've been waiting to happen with Halacline. We know sooner or later they could start coming a little bit more alive, and now they're starting to rack up the kills. You can see damage starting to rain down around Yaxley. This is
Oh,
not
he's in
good.
trouble.
Remember,
Oh
Team
my
Gates had a
God.
rough start last time
Shrimzy.
around, and it's actually going to be Shrimzy showing up around this. So that's going to be Yaxley just going to go ahead and get taken down. Sure, he's going to have the smokes around it, but let's be honest. He's either going to get bled out or he's just going to have a bullet connect with him at some point.
It's
Yeah.
looking like the end for Yaxley.
So
Yeah, he's going to get finished off by that bullet. Shrimzy with a good eye coming in, getting that down before the smokes really bloomed there.
is anybody actually going to be able to steal the kill?
Yeah, that's what it looked like the question was, right? I mean, or
Yeah,
it looked like the attempt
Sub-Zero.
was there.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
there you go. Sub-Zero manages to snag it away from him. Don't worry, Shrimzy. We saw it. We give you the respect for it. All
But
things
no
considered.
points.
Yeah,
Gold
no
star.
point. You don't get any points for style on it. We just give you respect.
Respect
for it.
points
You
only.
get the gold star of respect.
So with this, we know the fact that the southern part of this circle, all around Yasnaya, is hot. I'm talking 61 people alive, and good lord, there are so many teams.
Oh my-
There's all the teams except for 2 in the southern half of the circle.
But look at Shoot to Kill. Shoot to Kill still is up on the mountainside of Stallber along with Lego Ego. Right now, look at all this stuff popping off.
Back again, getting another great down off of it, and you can see probably Rez is going to come through. Gunner's just kind of surviving. Everybody seems to be focused on it.
I'm shutting the door.
That's one of the things that's been known about Gunner for a while is he just tends to be a bullet sponge. Whenever he goes for a peek, it seems like everybody in the world's like, there he is, and turns around and just takes pot shots back over him. But he does have back hitting some shots over there next to him as well. As you can see, a little bit of a regroup. It's going to be Yellow Pipe Gaming that's firing down off of one angle as they're looking back on the other.
Exactly. You see here, low-key taking out DLG Microfi there. Another one goes down.
With this, you can kind of get a feel of what's happening with them. They do have these yellows, but the problem with these yellow buildings is sometimes they have really bad angles to look through. So they're having to be very careful with it. It looks like they've got Gunner looking off of one angle and back holding another one.
Yeah, it's going to be a long road here for them with this fields around them. I mean, there's just no one going to be approaching it, even seems like.
Now, here's the thing that I'm scared of is, yeah, it's going to be all these little skirmishes. Since we have so many teams down in the southern part of the circle, they're all already within touching distance. It's almost like we're already about circle 4 at this stage, even though that we're in circle 2 right now. You can see, look how close so many of these teams are right now. We've got a couple, 200 meters that are separated out from Godspeed and DLG, as well as Low-Key off on the other side of this.
I'm definitely surprised that we haven't seen more teams try to go a little bit farther north onto Stallber. I guess they're just hard committing that this circle is eventually going to come south here. But if it goes north, this is going to be crazy.
Well, it's almost like a lot of the teams really prefer to do these long rotations north
Yeah.
whenever the circle happens, and that double think is kicking into play. Everybody's assuming everybody rotated north, so it's better to go south, and this time around, it doesn't pay off.
And it's also easier
Yeah.
to an extent to rotate onto Stallber because, like you said, I mean, Stallber, one of those places, since it is a mountain, since it is kind of has that rounded terrain.
Right.
You can kind of be right next to somebody and not really know that they're right there as we see the new circle's going to pop.
Kinda staying around there a little
Okay.
bit.
We talked about it beforehand. This is where things are going to get a little bit
Spicy.
interesting, as now we're going to have Tempo Storm, Space Station, Loki, Simplicity, all going to have it to move, as well as
Look at
Trifecta.
shoot to kill, though.
Oh, yeah, they're starting to get into a little bit of a position over there. Lazarus actually coming fairly alive already. Shoot to kill, I love this terrain piece and where you play at it. That's one of the reasons I love Stallber. You really get to see some phenomenal shooting coming out of these players as they know how to make every single shot count with these sniper rifles on this long-range shots.
And it looks like they did happen to catch a little bit of vision of LYE as they were trying to make their way down south. You can see them definitely. All attention is focused there towards the north as Ghost is going to take some shots at a passing vehicle.
Oh, reload, taking some damage there. This is a very risky push coming out from them, but there's not a lot that they can really do with everybody being down in that southern part of the last circle. Everybody is so close to each other, so these
Balak.
teams that have to move really have to try to get something out of it. And so Balak looking back over there. Balak getting another shot. You can see just trying to juke. Is he going to be able to give it up?
They
No,
got
it's
it.
going to be Drassel that
That's
goes and
revenge
gets
for
it.
the first game right there. That's what that was.
All right, so next low-key member trying to make that path through is going to be Charlie, taking a lot of damage, but does manage to regroup with the rest of his friends back behind those rocks, but I don't think it's necessarily the place they want to stay for too long.
I mean, they are just getting pounded by bullets here from Ghost. They have a perfect angle onto this. They're going to hide behind the vehicles, but now the tires are going to be getting taken out. Low key has to do something here quick.
Balak is really feeling good about this right now. Not necessarily always seen him have the chance to really just show what he's got in his aim, but he's in a perfect spot right now to rain down a ton of damage on everybody. Now, on the receiving end of this, you can see what's happening with Loki there. They already have their smokes down. They've already lost a lot of their tires. If they have to make another rough rotation, how many tools do they have left? As you can see, a corpse of one of their teammates flying in the field next to them.
They have managed to build themselves a vehicle for it here around this rock. They are in the center of the circle, and they can. I mean, this is not a bad spot to really work,
Whoa.
but I don't think they feel too comfortable about it just yet.
They're trying to dislodge the car as I.
I mean,
no,
Space Station
just-
Gaming H1 just drove right past Ghost Gaming, kind of caught some attention away from them. So a little fortunate break there.
Oddly enough, through all of the moving of those cars, because I thought that they were trying to dislodge it and it was a rock not underneath a rock, but they're really just trying to make sure that they destroy all their vehicles, get a fortification set up. But that means that they're just committing to live here for forever. So if they have to move, speaking of somebody that has to move, it's going to be Space Station Gaming somehow managing to make it into that check. Oh, just barely gets knocked down by Frolicker, but that should be a res as they can close those doors. But no, Smurf is not going to be able to make it. This time around, he's just going to get taken down, but that's only one member from Space Station Gaming. Narrowly, the other one should survive.
Get my. Oh no! The grenade!
Good
Where did he even
job.
get it that close from? That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
That was
they got it from
insane.
their own team. That was Space Station grenading themselves.
Sometimes you just got to go ahead.
We're having
Finish
some.
it,
We're
yeah.
having some grenades today, boys.
Yeah, it's okay.
We're having
It's
some
just
grenade
a
issues today.
thing that can happen. So,
Hate to see it. All right, so Frolicker still taking shots at these passing vehicles. You can see DLG also trying to make their way in. I don't know what's going on with these grenades.
I mean, look at Check 6 popping off on Tempo Storm right there. They're in the southwest corner of the
Got-
circle currently.
They got a little bit of a skirmish. As you can see, Tempo Storm also choosing to crash into that Yasnaya location. Check 6 right back behind them. You can actually see a little bit of the split that's going on between Halo Klein off in the distance. Denial also inside the general location as well. Now, the problem with it is this is right on the edge of the circle, and look on the mini-map. How many teams? You got to talk. Oh, you missed it. You
I
missed
didn't get a chance. Dang
You didn't
it.
get a chance. I should have thrown it to you earlier. So sorry, players. That's entirely my fault. But I got to point out one of the tried and true strategies that used to happen with Trigger Happy was the 2-2 split inside of Shaxx. And I told Machine Gunner if he did it again, I was going to call it out. And voila, we've got it going right now. But it's actually paying up dividends for them as they have both of their split inside this next circle and have control over what is going to be a Fields game.
Look, Yellow Pike Gaming, if you're going to do anything today, now is the time. You've got the dead center of the circle. You've got the terrain to work with. You've got everybody has to move into you. Now is your time. Now is your chance to climb up.
I'm just waiting to see how this is going to play out. And back again, showing up, getting a nice down onto Zampa there. You can see the Tempo Storm starting to feel a little bit of
no.
pressure from their location. There's going to be a little bit of car action happening
Oops.
with those guys kind of bumping into each other there.
Same team.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like everybody's starting to surmount to the pressure at this stage.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of the audience back there bantering with people as they're going through. So with this, a nice shot coming out from Gunnar.
It's Gunnar!
Gonna go ahead and get the down onto Tony V there. The rest of the guys from Gates just can't find anywhere to go. They're running into Lazarus. They're just getting torn apart as there is absolutely nowhere for Gates to hide at.
Yo, and Gotku with a grenade on Tempo Stone.
Yay!
Fantastic.
Oh, you can hear the claps coming out for Gunnar back over there. If you guys don't know much about Gunnar, he played inside of PGI like our analysts were talking about, known for his singing, actually, in their comms earlier.
Oh, and Tempo gets eliminated there by
15th,
Czech
yeah.
6. They're going to go out in 15th place after that big win.
All right, now it's a fight around the outskirts of Yasnaya as teams are just stacking down around each other. Yellow Pike Gaming, Poro was talking about it. This is your opportunity. There are so many potential bodies for you to take there, but it looks like right now Denial wants to go ahead and grab as many of them as possible, but that means that they're going to have to turn around and walk back this direction. We have Halo Clan Gaming, Yellow Pike, both holding the same angle. Look at all of the destruction that is happening in that location.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of destruction there. You see Simplicity, though, they're still alive here. They're on the northeastern side of the circle, actually, and they're going to act and potentially clash or shoot to kill in just a little bit here. And right now, though, YPG, they're doing pretty decently for themselves. Still, though, 0 kills.
Denial does have that foothold right next to where all that carnage is at, and looks like that's going to be how they rotate out of Yasnaya. There is still one member from Reinvent back behind inside of Yasnaya, and that's going to be CeeLo. But finally, Yellow Pike Gaming starting to look back down towards Halo Clan Gaming in their other position, trying to see if they can hit some type of shots off of it. Looks like we also have a little bit of a fight that's going down between Simplicity and Ghost, and that's finally going to be a nice shot coming through there. Can he potentially get the flush over onto it, as it's going to be very hard for Zodiac to pop up and get the res off on this? I think that Duck might be out here. Oh, is a crate going to come down and potentially cover the
no
angle?
way.
Wow.
You have got to be kidding me.
No
This
way.
is everything you could want if you're a Halo Clan Gaming fan. That's going to be an easy potential res coming out from there. And now it's starting to have Yellow Pike Gaming get encroached. You can start to see the teams are starting to collapse down around them.
But you can see nobody shooting at them right now. They have the center of the circle, but they're not getting any shots returned onto them. They have a little bit of a hillside that they can work with, so maybe they're just avoiding line of sight. But Halo Clan not in a position to be able to shoot. Denial not in a position to be able to shoot yet either. As the circle is about to finish closing in, we're about to go to circle 5.
And the whole time we're watching this reposition coming out from Denial as they're slowly making their way back over towards Yellow Pike Gaming. In between the Halo Clan guys, there is still Trifecta up on Stalber Hillside, still raining down bullets right on top of them. So with this,
Oh, my
there
God.
you go.
boy.
Yellow Pike Gaming getting the circle this time around. We also have Ghost right there next to DLG. We have the guys from Halo Clan Gaming. They still have one of their shacks inside of here. Well, I say one of their shacks. This time they're actually just hiding inside of a ridge. But you can see this is what's going on with Simplicity. They are just caught up in this fight, looking back down towards Ghost.
Yeah, they're looking towards Ghost and DLG. However, don't forget, last round, DLG was the ones who took out Ghost. So right now, there's going to be an interesting fight between those two, but they got to watch out because obviously Pentalol has eyes on Ghost.
All of this is kind of being regulated by Simplicity. DLG can't push across into Ghost. Ghost can't push also into DLG because Simplicity just raining shots down on top of both of them.
Okay, well, this is where it's starting to get a little bit more explosive. We have to try to figure out how we're going to see any type of rotation here. It's going to see Halo Clan starting to get a little bit more active. They have the smokes to work with. Finez looking back off on this angle. You can see Tetris taken down. That's a beautiful nade, but it's going to be a retaliation drop from back on a different angle. So it's just mutually assured destruction for both of those squads right now. But while all of this is going on, we also do have Shoot to Kill slowly creeping back down towards Yellow Pike Gaming. While they do have circle control, you can see I'm willing to bet the other two guys from Halo Clan, they're just going to bleed out. This is just predominantly going to be Vac and Gunnar trying to hold this down the best they can.
This is asking a lot of Vac and Gunnar, though. You see all these teams down to the south having to push in. That is, I mean, Lazarus, you have Czech 6, everything that has to be kind of maintained by Halo Clan here, it could be too much.
But they're doing a great job of forcing everybody to rotate out and away from them at the time. They're hitting the shots, forcing them to play away from them. They have tons of fields in front of them, so this is a dangerous cross. Really, only teams that have anything left with vehicles might be able to usurp their location. Everybody else is forced to play edge. We spoke about the vehicles. Looks like they might start coming into play as Czech 6 is hopping into it, trying to do a little bit of road rage, running right up into this direction. They're just going to pop back down over onto it, and Gunnar was trying to connect with those shots, but looks like it's going to play off. This is a long-range Hail Mary grenade. I don't think it's going to roll down far enough, but there is the possibility for it. It's going to be pretty close, but
Just a little short.
About 10 meters still further out. It's going to be a little bit of utility going through there as Check 6 is just looking back up that direction as a red zone is going off in front of them, created by Halo Climb Gaming.
And Lazarus trying to make their way in as well, but Vac's going to take care of Felix as they are trying to, I think Fozu, the last one left up. It should be in circle, might be able to get the res here, but Check 6 so close. What are they going to do from here? They might have to push on to this.
Oh, Trifecta had to run down the hillside and running right into Vac's line of sight. They have so many different angles. It's like they're in a shooting gallery. They're having to look through one window, take a couple of shots, look back the other one. There's just the two of them to make it work.
Yeah, I think Pros might have been honest. I think this is going to be a little bit too crowded for them. Too many teams coming at them from too many different angles.
But they might have a little bit of assistance by everybody else shooting it from these different
That's
angles,
the hope.
kind of protecting them. As we start to see this diminish down slowly and steadily, new circle has popped. You can see it's going to be the shoot to kill guys. They're going to have to start making their way down right next to where Yellow Pike Gaming is, but they're kind of caught up wanting to try to hit some of these shots over towards Trifecta. Finally, Purdy Curdy realizes, okay, it's time to start making our way into the safe zone, but it's going to be on a similar path as to what Filthy is doing.
Oh boy. And here we go. You see YPG making moves too. They got the vehicle in now. Will they Oh, Gunner gets out, not developer. Looks like HLCG and Check 6 getting that little battle we expected before.
And here's the problem with it. Look at the angle where we see everybody from Yellow Pike Gaming at. They don't necessarily have the sight lines back towards shoot to kill. This is great knowledge of the map. They're making sure to approach on the safest angle possible.
Whoa, Gunner!
Gunner!
So-
So close. If he would have gone down there, they would have been dead.
It doesn't matter, though. With those shots, they know they hit. That's going to unlock Lobes. He's going to start running forward. That's going to show up big. Get the down onto one of them. Trying to spin back over. They know that this is the angle that everybody's going to be approaching from, but Vac is taking a lot of
Fozu
damage.
behind.
It's going to be a third party that's actually going to start trying to protect them to some degree. Gunner's trying to line up the shots into the smoke, just spraying anything that he can try to get off of this, as now it's going to slowly fade back out, and he has to assume maybe they're playing back behind the rocks.
He
Check
knows it's
6
in the bush.
still needs to come
Oh
forward.
my God,
They
he
get a
knows it.
shot off onto it, so they're still just trying to hold this angle. Godku's gonna have to get up at some point. He is not inside the safe zone.
Yeah, Reinvent still shooting from behind as well towards Gunner.
All right, so with this, you can see that Gunner's looking back on that angle. Vac does get dropped inside of it, so he's gonna have to run back over. This could be Godku's time. If he is paying attention to the kill feed, he might know he might have that opportunity to go for a res, to go for a run, but you can see it's actually exploding on the other side. It's gonna be
Oh, just
Simplistic
finished
hitting
off
some
those.
great shots on it. It's gonna be DLG just going ahead and flushing this out. Finally, the shoot to kill run is starting to make its way down, as it's gonna be shoot to kill running right into Yellow Pike Gaming.
Oh,
They
Yellow
got
Pike in
Shrimsy and
trouble.
G-Son.
So with
Shrimsy and GSOT, the last two remaining. Adam's going to try to get the peek.
Oh!
He's going to go down.
Oh,
Purdy Curdy
they-
and Uncivil, the last two remaining alive. Can they find Shrimsy in the bathroom? They're not going to get the angle right now. Uncivil is so low. The Molotov preventing him from trying to get into the bathroom. And while this is going on, GSOT is getting res.
But Trifecta is also running right up onto this exact
coming.
same fight. They're trying to get the reses off. They're trying to get back to full strength. They're going to hit the angle shots onto one of them, get the raid down back onto it, just be like, no, you don't get to do that. But they haven't had time to really reinforce if Trifecta chooses to partake in this fight.
Look
Just
at
a
this
couple
house.
of nades. It's just pandemonium inside of here. Everybody's trying to
carnage.
run.
And
he's
here it
gone
comes.
down, trying to get the
Trifecta
res.
is charging inside of this. They realize that the angle shoots the kill, finally steps up, gets the double downs, but now they're all
Get in the
trying to go
bathroom.
into the bathroom just
Get in
to
the
change
bathroom.
res, while Trifecta is raining carnage on the outside.
But look at
Here comes
Simplicity.
Simplicity.
Wooly is
Oh my
crashing
God.
onto this. He's got the rest of his team is behind him. He doesn't have the support really to push onto this. The new circle pop is going to go to the
God.
middle, but Trifecta's
Trifecta's
coming
there.
around as well.
Okay, so with this, we now have Simplicity. Has control over the circle. Trifecta right on the outside. There it looks like they might actually allow all of Shoot to Kill
No,
to get these races
come
off.
on.
That would be insane. They
Come
don't have
on.
good nade angles for it. Trifecta already looking towards that new circle right now. We are going to have the guys that we were watching a second ago, Halo Climb. They're going to have to move away from this position. While they had great sight lines for all of the
They
fields,
all get
now they
missed.
have to run through it. And yes, we do have Shoot to Kill back up to full
That's
four-man
ridiculous.
strength.
And
That-
they have all four of the members of Yellow Pike in there to loot if they need meds.
That's crazy. And of course, Simplicity also still has all four members of their team up. DLG still surviving. They're kind of in the blue zone right now, but they still have three
Felix.
members, and they just eliminate Lazarus exactly. So now we are down to just 5 teams with 15 players alive.
I really like this. I've been wanting to see a little bit more coming out of DLG. They're starting to get a lot of control over this area. They have great sight lines over this field, just trying to see who they can get bead on. It looks like it might be Halo Climb, could be their target. target of choice to get this underway. But while all of these side skirmishes are happening towards the edge, it's just Simplicity that's getting more and more control over the safe zone. Finally, you're going to see DLG taking a couple of shots their direction.
Halo Klein had to move out of their location, and they're going to be taking some long-range shot here from Trifecta, but they are playing the line of sight angle on this so very well. But DLG's going to come in. Oh, Trifecta!
Look at this. It's going to be a beautiful turnaround coming out from Adam to really save his team there, trying to get another res up on Aloe. But look at this. Hades is slowly creeping up. They realize this might be their opportunity. They're starting to make his way forward. They've got to hit these shots onto this. It's going to be another beautiful set of shots coming out from Adam. They're just going to go ahead and get the flushes. Now Trifecta playing full defense, but they got to get this res, and Shoot to Kill has to run.
Yeah, at the same time that was going down, we saw Simplicity actually take out Shovel Bubba. Dordelli's down him. Hades down with the shots.
He's just waiting on the outside for it. You can see Hades was biding his time to see if he could get anything out of it, but he took the shots and gave away his position.
And Vac gets the kill on him.
So with this, now you can see everybody's starting to make their way. I think we might be settled. Everybody is in the safe zone at this point. Adam's slowly trying to crawl through. We talked about it beforehand with Tempo Storm. They burned through so much. Shoot to Kill has probably lost so many things inside of these skirmishes and all of these fights. Simplicity still so strong at this point.
And they're rolling towards Shoot to Kill.
DLG tried to wrap up along the eastern side of running to Simplicity. They ended up getting spotted out. Simplicity wiping them with the exception of Los HD, who's still alive on the south part of the circle. Now they're turning their attention on Shoot to Kill.
Yeah, we can see Simplicity starting to make their way. They heard the firefights. They want to start making this. They're going to go for the pick. It's going to be Aloe instantly going down. Now just Sybil's last man standing. Gets the spray on one. Tries to get their own second one. Is not going to accomplish it.
And so that means it's going to be, what is that, 3 or 4? Oh my God, here we go. Halo Klein going to start making a push up now. They're into the safe zone. They see Simplicity. They have an idea of where they're at. Here they come.
This is the opportunity. If you pay attention to the kill feed, you know you can strike. You know somebody just got downed.
Simplicity has 4 up. They will get that res. They have the north side of the road to work on. They have a nice little ledge to work with, but so does Halo Klein here. It's just going to be a battle of picking. What can Vac do? He gets down.
Looks back over the other angle, trying to see. You can see Lynxie has already dropped back down, trying to survive off of it. Vac, Gunnar holding 2 different angles. Loss is still way out on the outside of this.
He's got to be careful, though, because he doesn't have vision of his right side here. He keeps scoping in with the 2X, trying to get the finish on the kill here on Lynxie. Lynxie's going to go for the res here, but Wooly and Check Shooter are wrapping around.
It's going to be very cautious. It's all going to come down to how Los decides to play this. If he charges up the angle, maybe coming up back behind Halo Klein, he can make this so easy, but Gunnar already knows where he is, trying to connect with these shots, but he can see the firefights happening. His back gets another necessary down. But Gunnar looks back up this side. That means they let Lost go for another reposition.
They can't worry about those right now. They're going to get another down on the Pentalo. It's down to just Check Shooter and Lynxie as they are just peeking over the top.
It's a 2v1.
Gunnar. It's down to just Check Shooter. Check Shooter's going to get the down on the back. Where's Gunnar?
It's all on Gunner's shoulders.
1v1v1 here as Check Shooter has no health. Vac is trying to feed some information to his teammate while Los HD snakes his way in.
Well, here we go. Los calling his way in there. Gunnar looking around. Does he get anybody?
Check Shooter might be going for the res off of this so that can push them back up. Gunnar doesn't want to go for the peek back over onto this, so now we've moved into a 2. Can he make it over to Vac in time? No, he cannot.
He tried just a little bit too late, though.
So with this now, we can see that Simplicity back up to strength. They have a little bit more numbers than everybody else. Gunnar knows the general vicinity of both the groups that he is fighting. At this point, Los, I don't think that Simplicity knows where he is.
He's got to work this tree if he's going to stay alive. Los has this angle. He's downhill from everybody else. He shouldn't be able to be seen. He's just going to wait and see what happens with Wooly and Check Shooter and Gunnar. Once these guys decide to push across the street, can Gunnar get vision first?
But here it comes down. We are in the last circle. Everything's starting to collapse towards that center point. And who has it? It's Simplicity. With their crawl back over, they have the ridge to work with. They can bide their time.
It's right on the road.
Slowly creeping their way through, but Simplicity's got a touch closer to it. So it's going to be a little bit more cautious for a second. Nobody's going to necessarily need to move quite yet and take those shots, but it's going to be smack dab in the middle of a violent location.
Does Los know where Gunnar is? That is the question that I'm wondering about, because I think he may have seen him when he was coming down off the hill.
Well, they've been taking shots back and forth at each other, so they have to have a general idea. He has to assume that Gunnar might be in that location. Gunnar naturally knows where Los is. Simplicity only knows where Gunnar is. I believe they have a general idea as Los took a couple of shots. And yep, this is going to be Los trying to mind game around, aware of where Gunnar's at, so going to start trying to creep up back behind him at this stage. This is going to be so pivotal. Keep in mind, Simplicity has been absolutely tearing it apart in the leaderboard so far today. Another win for them would be absolutely huge. DLG wants to prove themselves. Halo Clan wants to prove themselves as well. So with that firefight, they pop up. They know they got the numbers. They thought maybe it was a 2v2. So Los, you are now walking yourselves into a 2v1, and you're going to get taken down, and it's a Simplicity win.
Yet again, Simplicity after round 1, and now round 4. They seem to be champions of Erangel.
Simplicity just coming in here and dominating day one on both games on Erangel, and actually performing super well on Miramar as well. This is going to be an 11-kill first place for these boys.
I mean, they were showing up, but I mean, you gotta give it to them. We saw DLG show up with something we were really wanting from them. We saw Halo Clan show up, something we were really wanting from them, and shoot to kill, maintaining that consistent performance, coming in 4th place.
Simplicity might actually dethrone Cloud9. They might actually dethrone Cloud9 from their first place perch right now.
Actually, I think that they may, given the amount of kills that they have inside this, they're gonna have 2 first